don't they? It looks like MotoGP or something.
A wonderful servant to his club, his country, and indeed.
Hello and welcome to our live watch along of Pro 14 Rugby. Producer Adam's going to remove that front thing from your screen so you can see us. So this is Under the Sticks watch along presented by Big Red Cloud. I have Paul Williams in the house, Dean Budd, Sean Holley, and me, Andy McGeady, to watch this first game of the resumed end of season post lockdown. Sean, we were very, very excited by this, but now we have real rugby, Benetton and Zebre happening almost now.
Oh, it's fantastic! You know, I've been excited all day.
I have too.
I love the Super Rugby watch-alongs, and we've had traction. You know, we've had a lot of regular followers, viewers, but there's nothing like talking about your own, is there? And you know, the Guinness Pro 14 is ours, and you know, we got Dean Budd with us. You know, he should be bloody playing.
No.
And, so this is amazing. You know, we don't get. I don't suppose many of our or many rugby fans would actually sit down, let's be honest, unless they were Italian fans, and watch this derby. Now, we're all craving it. We all can't wait to watch it. It's fantastic.
It's great. We say goodbye to Storm Ellen, and now we have actual rugby, where I am anyway, a reasonably sunny evening. The mood is good. Dean Budd, how does it feel watching your mates running out?
Oh, it's pretty exciting. There's some terrible haircuts, which I wish I was there probably mostly for, to throw some abuse, but no, the boys are looking good and fit and sweaty and ready to go. It's exciting.
Speaking of adventures and haircuts, which we did have during lockdown, Paul Williams, how are you doing this evening?
I'm very well, thank you. I've got a new background today. As you see, the Russians did get hold of me, and they've moved me to their former allies in Cuba. No, I'm in Swansea at my mother and father's. Been looking forward to this all day, like Sean said. And before we start, can I just say how good both kits are? Treviso kit looks beautiful. It looks like MotoGP and Zebre, although they do look a bit like Leicester seconds. I like that kit.
Well, Leicester's clearly copied them, though, haven't they?
No, absolutely.
100%. We went into this on Wednesday's show. It is absolutely 100% a copy. Before we really get into things, Paul, the first thing you were talking about in the group chat earlier on, even before we went on air, and the first thing you asked Dean about was what name on the team sheets tonight?
Yeah, it was Scarby. I looked up the Pro 14 app before we started, obviously going through the team sheets, and I thought somebody didn't put it wrong because I've seen him play there once or twice before. But I just presumed in the opening game they wouldn't have placed him there. But Dean, you were just giving us an insight into that.
Yeah, I think in the Six Nations, when we lose a lot of flankers, he was covering loads in the flanker, and he's a big physical boy, and he's made for that kind of stuff. So, the centres at the moment are pretty full, and he would probably be experiencing pretty limited game time there. So I think they've shoved him in a bit tighter, and he can get into the dirty stuff.
Because he is massive. I was saying just before we came on that I met him at the Pro 14 launch about 12 months ago, and I'd never met him before. And he doesn't do that many post-match interviews, so I wasn't that familiar with his face, up close. And he wandered up, but I genuinely thought it was a back row forward because he's easily 6'4". He's easily my height. And to be kind to myself, he's probably a little bit more muscular. And he just looks like a straight up 6 or 8,
Yeah, he fits
John
will perfectly.
It does. So just to go through, we will have some comments in during the evening. We've had a good adventure during Super Rugby Aotearoa, which was kind of early morning on Saturday. John Wilson, I'm looking at you. It is like Gogglebox. We have called this Rugby Gogglebox, and we have a chat and we see where it goes. So if you're up for it, welcome along for the ride. It's been a lot of fun over the last few weeks.
Andy, can I just say that John Wilson quote's perfect. We should put that nearly underneath.
Can I get a t-shirt?
Under our bio. It's one of those bloody Gogglebox. That's exactly what it is.
Correct.
I think
Also,
you've got some
he's
predictions early on.
He's one of these people that is too tight to pay the Premier Sports subscription.
Just listening
And
to
so
this.
he's scouring the internet now, a bit like you, McGeady, looking for a link, a VPN, or something like that. Premier Sport have an offer on at the moment. I think it's 80 quid. You get to see all the games.
No.
You know, John, just pay it, watch it, and then have us on the side and do a little bit of Gogglebox interaction.
What's it work out at? Do you know, I spoke to one of my mates because I'm back in Gowerton in Swansea, which is very near Pencloud, where I was born, which is one of the tightest places in the world, right? You won't find any money on the floor there, ever. And he said, oh, I don't want to pay. I said, it's like it's £1 a week. And you
for
get to
all the
watch
games and
every
highlights.
single game. And then I broke it down like that. And he went, oh, I hadn't thought about it like that. So he
And let's
signed
face
up
it,
today.
Everybody, every single person in Gowerton can afford it, plus the children, because the amount of pocket money they have.
Exactly. Rich in Gowerton.
Anyway, 3-0.
Good start,
3-0
actually.
early. So Dean, you wanted some predictions for tonight. Do you want to give your unbiased view?
Oh, yeah. Here we go.
I mean, off the team sheet, I would definitely give it to Zebre, just going off experience and who's lining up. I'd give it to Zebre in a heartbeat. And from experience, preseason games, we always struggle against Zebre and derbies as well. The last few derbies, we've come out on top, but very, very luckily, and a lot through some just dumb decisions from Zebre. I mean, on the sheet, I'd give it to Zebre, but I think I got to go with my heart, and I'll stick with the Benetton boys, and I'll say we'll probably take it out by a couple of tries.
What do you think, mate? I have, some of the watch-alongs I was talking about total points, because I got a couple of guys who work for betting companies, and it's amazing the amount of research that goes on in these betting industry. Obviously, they got to get it right, and they invariably do get it right. What's traditionally a Benetton Zebra sort of total point score? Because I'm looking at this now, they'd be a bit rusty. It's a lot of penalties. I'm not so sure there's going to be a heap of points in this. I don't know.
No, I mean, typically I'd say it's under 20 points. I mean, it really is. It's just always an arm wrestle, always ugly, and I guess we factor in even more the rolling away and the new laws, how they're going to be interpreted. I think there'll be a lot of penalties, and I wouldn't expect a high scoring game.
And it could, exactly that could bring in more goal kicking, couldn't it? 'Cause if they get a lot of pens in the opposition half, you could see a lot of shots at the post.
So what about the 10? Paolo Gabisi, mate. Obviously, they're missing Ian Keatley tonight. And Monty Owane is a significant miss as well, I think. What's Gabisi like?
I've not had anything to do with him. He's just come into the team this year, but I've seen him play with the Italy under-20s, and he's a very, very good player. My experience with him was literally 1 week of running in May, where I could barely breathe after lockdown to be able to even talk to the guy. But he comes with big raps out of the under-20s, and I mean, Benetton's kind of gone with him instead of Antonio Rizzi, who's just gone to Zebre. So it'd be interesting if those two kind of come up against each other, two kind of under-20 boys coming through the ranks.
Yeah. So they've benched Keatley. The thinking being, let's give him his first start and see how he gets on.
I mean, look at the team. It's very experimental, and talking from inside the camp, I think, we're going to see a very different team next week as well. I think Benetton's very much treating these two games as pre-seasons with nothing on the line, essentially. I mean, there's still going to be all that hurt and want to win out on the field, but I think, in result, there's nothing really riding it. So why not try some things and maybe find some new exciting combos for October?
Is it weird? Is it weird watching this thing?
It is a little bit. It's even weirder doing it like this.
No. Yeah.
Any news on Monty Owane, Dean? Monty's obviously been mooted as somebody who's going to make, the Italian squad now. He's qualified. Class. Any news on him? He's obviously injured, is he?
No, he's fine. Like I said, talking to the guys, seems like they're going to roll out a different team next week, and I'm sure Monty will be involved in that.
Yeah.
from what I understand, they've had very few injuries, especially to the bigger name kind of players. So it's a good start to the season.
We forget as well. We forget. I was doing some research for the Ospreys Dragons game Sunday, which I'm on, and Zebre, very close to the start of lockdown, went to Rodney Parade and demolished
That's right.
the Dragons.
Yeah.
You know, they were coming really, really good. So, you know, it's interesting that Buddy says on paper he would have gone Zebre tonight.
Yeah. I mean, I looked through their things, and I mean, their whole backline was kind of up towards, I mean, in the 80s, 90s in caps, and same with the loose trio. I mean, the youngest guys are the kind of props, but I mean, yeah, there's a lot of caps out there for Zebre.
Yeah.
A lot of caps.
Yeah. Well, it's good to see some fresh faces as well, because I watched a bit of the Italy under 20s recently, and there's some good stuff coming through, mate. You know, some good kids.
Yeah, they do very, very well in that competition too. So it's I get scared saying the future is bright, because there's still some very fundamental flaws in the system in Italy which aren't changing quickly enough. But there's certainly talent coming through, and the moment they can kind of merge the talent with the system coming right, it'll be scary for everyone else.
That is right, because Italy's under 20s are almost progressing at a more quickly relatively than the senior team, aren't they? They seem to be making a bigger jump forward than the seniors. But I suppose you need that, don't you? Because without all of that youth flushing through, that's the consistency, isn't it? You want every 2 seasons. Yeah. How many would you get through, Sean, roughly, would you be looking for? If you could get 2 under 20s through into your senior team every 2 seasons, you're doing well, are you? Roughly 2 or 3? Or is it more or less?
Yeah, what I always found with us in Wales was that they came in crops. You know?
Yeah, blocks.
If we had a good crop, we had a bloody good crop. So you think Rhys Webb, Dan Bigger, Jonathan Davis, Lee Halfpenny, Sam Warburton, we're all in the same under 20s team.
Yeah. They literally came through the same year, didn't they?
Yeah,
the senior squad.
And then you don't, but, you know, Buddy'll tell you, when you know, they're good at 18, mate.
You don't need to muck around.
Yeah, you fast track them straight away.
Yeah.
Oh, the hooded claws back.
Little bit, yeah. Sorry, I needed to move. This moving thing might happen a couple of things today. Can we talk about if you look at the scrum here, there's a lot going on. Okay, we've talked about the 2 players' kits. The referee has a lot going on that shirt as well.
No, visually.
Yeah.
At least it's clear.
Is this a lead-in plug to Big Red Cloud, is it? Right on the back of the jersey.
You're getting into this media lark, do you know?
I bet that ref, right, is from someone like Florence. He's got like €500 suits. He's got amazing shoes, right? Yeah. He's got the most expensive razor that he shaves his head with, and smells fantastic. I bet he's one of those. He looks it, doesn't he?
He does.
They're all like that. That's it. You've just summed up Italy. And
that's a lovely line kick.
Oh, I would like to see the 50-22. Interesting comment from Harley Worthy. We talked about total points, Andy, when you were off. But he said traditionally this is a low-scoring derby. Might be different tonight. We don't know. But he says, Harley, nice for you to join us. As well as total points, how many pens will we have tonight? The Premiership averaged 26 per game last weekend. Yeah. 26. Leicester Tigers gave away 22 on their own.
Amazing. The opening weekends in Super Rugby were about 30-31.
Yeah, they were, yeah.
Weren't they? So it'll be up near that. It's all very well doing it in training, isn't it? But then, of course, as soon as you get out there, it's all muscle memory, and bang, another penalty gone.
Every line out so far in their own half, Zebre have gone quick. And whether they worried about the Benetton defensive line out, I don't know.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. Looking at Zebre's lineup, they got the fridge Dave Cece there. He's not the most agile man in the air, so he'll hate me saying that because he tells me every time that he's great He's one of the best 2 jumpers going around, he reckons. But yeah, I'd say they'll I mean, Benetton with Treviso, and there's a great defensive man in the line-out, so they'll be trying to avoid him as much as possible. I don't know if you can pick it up. You can see everyone kind of swiping their faces, and you probably see all the bugs. Monego in the summertime is just one of the worst places in the world. Oh,
really? That's what it is, mosquitoes.
You get in your protein shake throughout the game.
Really?
2 grams of protein every
they're
carry.
They're in your eyes. They're in your ears. It's horrible. It really is.
That's fantastic. Do you know what they're talking about? The 50-22. I think that's got to be brought into every league now. Having seen it in Australian Super Rugby,
Yeah,
it really changes the game. Like, you know, in that situation there now, Treviso Zebre would have had an attacking line out in the 22. Mind you, they're doing pretty well, yeah.
No, I love it just purely, and you know, from the change in incentive for the defending team. I just love everything about the 50-22. Love it.
But you know that. But the real beauty of it, and the real beauty of it is I wrote it in my column. It's the last 5 minutes. I don't know whether you're into American football, Dean, but you know the old Hail Mary pass where they just fling it down. The 50-22 really becomes that. So say if you need 3 points to win or to draw, and you can't get out of your own half, carrying with the 50-22, it gives you one chance to drop back both your kickers and like try and zing one into the corner. So it's made for some really exciting matches in Australian Super Rugby.
Yeah, that could really, you can see all the bugs there. That could really create some real momentum and pressure there.
Exactly, and it jazzes up the last 5 minutes, you know.
The big long spiral on a messy day, you know, someone who can really do that ball. Because we've kind of the last, say, 10, 15 years. That big long one could become a huge weapon, Paul, as you say, in the end game.
Oh, Sean, you imagine now if it was back in the day and you had Lee Byrne and you're down 6 points in your own half.
Well, mate, forget Lee Byrne. We could have had Byrne,
Bigger,
Henson, Hook, Mike Phillips. They all had massive boots on them.
But you imagine, right, a set play off a scrum, you go, right, I'm splitting 4 of you now, so one of you doesn't get charged. And whoever gets it, just smack it into the corner. You know, it'd be like a set play, wouldn't it?
We got a question in from JJBTW Gaming that Andy can perhaps read out. It's a very important one.
It's a very, very important one, is it?
That's beautiful.
It is. Oh, he's not listening. He's gonna make a cup of tea.
I'm really trying. Hold on. Is this actually Welsh?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is Welsh.
It's very poor, but it's
not a wind-up.
I don't know what yn Rion Wyn and siarad Cymraeg fan hyn. Is this in Welsh? Will this be written in Welsh? I think that is.
No, it's genuine. If anyone, it's
anyone speaking Welsh. Yeah, is. And beth yw
yn rhywun.
And beth
and siarad Cymraeg fan hyn. Is there anyone on here
speaking Welsh?
Speak Welsh, yeah.
Do you speak Welsh, Sean?
No.
Is this going to become a? There's going to be a sideline chat here, just like when you have Nigel Owens talking to his TMO who can speak Welsh, and they abandon the formalities and just have a chat, knowing no one else knows what's going on.
Meanwhile, back at the game.
Yeah, I had to zone out there. I had no idea what was going on.
Sorry, guys. This is what to expect of Under the Sticks. It does drift.
Liccardo is a bit of a heartthrob. He's the hottest ginger going around Italy, that's for sure.
He's a good player, isn't he?
Yeah, I saw he was top of the offload ranks actually as well. He can really throw some.
Yeah, that doesn't.
Speaking of Hail Marys, he can throw them and they always come off.
Yeah, that was when you were saying, in training, just throwing them every couple of seconds.
But Adam's back. He's made his cup of tea.
Very good.
It's very hard to keep up with the comments, this and the game at the same time. Really need to work on my multitasking. Yeah?
It's like playing poker. And you've got to learn Welsh in the middle of it all.
And Welsh.
They're
Well,
going to
that's
destroy
the
them
beauty
all.
of these things.
Exactly. Tell you what, Zebre Mall's looking good. Isn't off the line now.
Yeah.
That's another massive gain there.
Oh, a bit of
Oh, they're
argy-bargy.
pumped too.
I like a good 15-meter gain on a mall. You look at the Brumbies in Australia. God, that mall they've got now is almost undefendable. It's like that.
I would love to say I watched some, but I just absolutely saw none of the Australian games. So,
You know when, Sean, you know when that is rolling back at that pace now, and you're Treviso. What's the core thing you have to do? Is that get as many in
Pull
as
it down
possible?
and give the penalty away.
Just drag it down and get on with it. Yeah,
Once they get momentum like that, Dean will tell you better than me.
just pull it.
You can't stop it.
No.
You cannot stop it. The only
It's
thing
best to give the pin as far out as possible because you're
Yeah.
going to give it away
So
eventually.
the cleverest pen is get it down as straight away. So it's not.
Or if somebody
So
can
it's less
get
obvious.
to the ball, if somebody can somehow get to the ball without the ref seeing, and then it collapses and it becomes unplayable, you may be lucky. But if it's her, most referees, 99% of referees see it going forward like that. There's only one thing they're thinking.
Game over anyway. So you're better off pulling that down before the 10-meter line and making the kick impossible.
Yeah, Barry Gormley, you are
Gormley.
on the mark. This Italian derby has indeed been 90% Welsh chat, with some of it even being in Welsh. So I feel your pain. I feel your pain.
We've got to balance it up.
The thing is, Zebre, I think I said it on Wednesday night, is there's a real incentive not to finish bottom of the conference.
Yeah.
They're above the Ospreys in Conference A at the moment. And, obviously it's a derby. It's still a derby match. It doesn't matter if there's nobody there. It's still a derby, mate, isn't it?
If you could hear the change rooms, there'd be some real heat coming out. There'd be some pre-game speeches and people going out there to die. It's an Italian derby, no matter what.
And let's face it, and I don't mean this to sound cruel on Zebre, but them finishing above the Ospreys, to me, that's like a trophy of sorts, right? Not finishing bottom with, the sort of record they've had in the league. I think that's definitely something you'd be playing for in this fixture. Blimey. No one wants to finish
such
bottom.
thing as a dead rubber.
Well, no one wants to finish bottom. I mean, that's as big a thing as playing for top.
It's going to be interesting to see the Mark Freeman. I think this is good. I like this. Perhaps Dean can do his commentary in Italian. Dean, save this up, right? Save this up. It will come back to you later on in this game. Okay.
You can do a try replay in Italian.
That's what we're talking.
God, I hope there's no tries there.
Dean, if you predict some of the calls in this game now and tell us what's going to happen, are you going to get in trouble with the coaches and your pals?
If I what? Sorry.
Say if you can see a set move being called, will you be able to tell us what it is before it happens?
Well, yes is the answer, but
that's the insight we're after, Dean.
If I could hear it, I could certainly tell you what's going on. But
I'll always remember watching the NFL. I don't know much about American football, but they had a retired quarterback on doing commentary about 2 seasons ago, and it was all over Twitter. And he predicted about 80% of the moves that were coming
brilliant.
up. What's his name? I can't remember.
I know.
I'm not really into American football.
Some of the listeners will pick out.
Adam would know, yeah. And he was just saying, right here now, they're going to be running goal line, and we're going to run it to the right. Now we're going to pass it to the middle. And it just happened.
Tony Romo.
Tony Romo. It was incredible.
Yeah.
Dean, you're going to become the Tony Romo of Under the Sticks.
Oh, if I had to predict something, it wouldn't be that Jaden Hayward ever lost the ball in contact. He's the safest man in rugby. So
he is, isn't he? I'm a big fan of Jaden Hayward. He gets a bit of grief sometimes, doesn't he, for not being the fastest of fullbacks. But he's a fantastic
does the right
player.
Things.
Yeah, he does. I tell you who he reminds me of a lot is Hadley Parks. In terms of,
can we go an episode without mentioning Hadley Parks?
Right, Dean, you may not know this. He's my man crush.
I found it out, and I sent Parksy a message I think it was after I found this out, the first podcast, and I asked him all about it. You didn't even reply to me. So
He's not on Twitter, is he? I don't think he's on Twitter. Thankfully,
No,
he isn't aware of the man crush. But there's another player who just doesn't make mistakes, really. He's like 80%, 85% right all the time.
yeah, and it's a hard thing to do. It really is in the heat of it all.
Yeah, I can imagine. Oh, hello.
There we go.
I think that's a try.
That's a try.
It's got to be, isn't it?
I'm definitely behind you guys.
I'm looking forward to the replay already. Dean, I hope you are too.
I'll just have a little fast forward.
I don't think he knocked that on then. Let's have a look. Here we go. Kick through.
As
That's
long
a
as he's
try for
behind,
me.
It's a try.
that's a try.
Definitely.
As long as he's behind the kicker. Is that Marisi?
He should have gone under the post then.
Bonnie that scored that.
Sorry, Tommaso Boni. Yeah.
Yeah. Sean, would you have given him a row then for not picking that up and going under the post? He had time.
Turning this referee up.
Look, things like that, you just got to dot it down.
Just get it down. Exactly.
Get it down.
Yeah.
Before that try, there were 6 penalties in the game. First 20 minutes. So we are looking at around about 24, 25 penalties.
25, yeah. Which will be up on it. What's the I think the average is about 18, is it? 19?
Yeah, it's a bit lower than that, but
is it lower than that for the? Oh, really?
It's
yeah, I don't think he touched that.
They've got to give that, surely.
Or have they? He's lining it up to kick.
Yeah, must have.
Yeah, he's got it.
Let's see what kind of day Kana's having.
Yeah.
Oh, good start.
Yeah.
Do you know that's one, without putting you on the spot here, Dean, I'll probably ask Sean to save any issues. But goal kicking is one thing at the test level, isn't it, with Italy, that they've sort of lacked a little bit. And there are some games they could have won. I can't think of any examples specifically. But over the last 4 or 5 seasons, I remember thinking, God, if you had a 90% kicker there, 85, you'd have won those.
Yeah, I mean, especially these derbies, I think Benetton would have lost the last 4 in a row, to be really honest, if Kana had a kicked. And then the last derby, they chucked Marcello Violi in there to kick, and he had a shocker as well. But yeah, I mean, they really struggle, especially Zebre, to build scoreboard pressure with their inability to kick goals.
Yeah.
And I think Tommy Allen at international level came on massively. I think at the start he felt a lot of pressure, but we came through a good patch, and he started to kick more goals and became a lot more reliable towards the end. But I mean, to have someone that 85% kicking is
it almost
changes games.
It does, doesn't it? It's almost it's a requirement for Test rugby, isn't it? An 85% goal kicker, and then it just makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah, I couldn't. Yeah, that 3 points before a game to put you within 3 or to put you just in front, and just changes a whole approach to
it's
the game.
Conversions as well, mate. As a coach, I love the fact that some of my boys could stick them over. You score try in the corner, and then they slot over the extra 2. It's another kick in the nuts. Like, you know, it's like, oh.
Yeah. I was chatting to I can't remember where it was now. Someone online about goal kicking percentages, and they were saying that Lee Halfpenny's was slightly down, I think, on Dan Biggers. But like I said, like Lee Halfpenny used to kick from virtually anywhere, didn't he? So I was trying to say, I'm not saying he's a better goal kicker than Dan Bigger, but you have to factor in the fact that Lee Halfpenny probably didn't turn down any kick from the halfway.
Well, mate, right, this is a bugbear of mine, because Lee's technique and Dan Biggers, they kick straight, right?
Right. Yeah.
Like they 4-iron it, laces almost at a 45-degree angle.
Yeah.
So the only thing that changes is the target. So the further wide they go, the target just gets narrower. That's all, because they kick it straight. And you hear some commentators say, "Oh, this is on his favorite left." You know, it's on the left side of the field. Say, "Oh, it's on his favorite side." That's not true. For
Yeah.
round the corner kicker, something like Rog, Ronan O'Gara,
Yeah.
he was a round the corner kicker. In other words, he'd curl it in right to left. Then if you've got a kick on the left-hand side of the field, then yeah, that does become your preferred option.
Yes.
But these guys' techniques now, they kick it straight. Like Carlo
Yeah.
Canna there, it was to the left, but it was a straight technical kick.
Yeah.
So it's
And
just,
if anything, they almost put a slight fade on it now, don't they?
yeah, it annoys me when it's almost on his favoured side of the field. I'm like, well, actually, no, it's not. No, you're talking about it.
Quade Cooper used to have a big draw on his goal kicking. Oh, frightening.
I've just had a message from Ian McKinley. He wants a plug on his international goal kicking career as well.
Right, let's get on it.
He reckons he could have been the saviour for Italian rugby with his goal
There we
kicking
go.
career.
Not just his kicking.
Paul Williams, get on it.
We'll have to get him on the
He's a
pod.
good rugby player, McKinley.
He was a good rugby player.
I wanted to sign him at Bristol. Is he
Did
listening?
you?
So, yeah.
Yeah, it should be. It was messaged me 2 minutes ago,
Yeah.
so he must still be listening. Give him a plug.
No, he's probably not. That's just a random text. It actually has no association.
He's just home bored and just fancied you launching a platform for him.
Correct. Adam Downder, who's this name we haven't mentioned yet since Dominguez, because if you talk about Italian kickers, that was the man. Diego Dominguez was a brilliant little kicker. And
he was fantastic.
Technically Argentinian.
He was technically Argentinian.
There's a lot of technically Argentinians around. Right?
Oh, careful now. Look at that. One more. Oh,
hold on.
Carlo ghosting through.
That was a lovely little run. That was.
We've been in the background at Guinness Pro 14 working on some new stats coming through, and Paul Lartner, one of our guys, is in touch with me here now. One of the things we're interested in is execution of points into the 22. So this was in the first 20 minutes. You can see Benetton only entered the 22 of Zebre once, but look at their 22 scoring percentage, 100%. So that was the try, obviously. Whereas Zebre had entered the 22 twice and come away with nothing. So this is something that we're going to try and evolve and look at. You'll also see the penalties in the charts, the pitch charts on the left and right. There's those penalties, 4 penalties for Benetton, 2 for Zebre. And it tells you the areas of the field. So we're looking to build up some trends, likewise errors.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, but the 22 entries is something, I think that's gone up now. I don't know whether Adam's got the latest one, because Zebre have been in 3 times.
Yeah.
And it's 33%. They've come away with 3 points once. So, is that something, Dean, as a player, some of the coaches would have highlighted about, converting the pressure in the 22 into points?
No, it almost became the be all and end all for us at Italy, because we could always get in, but we could never convert. And I really would love to give you an accurate stat on some of our numbers, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But we were horrendous at it. Whether it was coming away with even 3 points, we just couldn't. For them, I mean, we were post games getting opposition teams and our stats within 22s, and a lot of times we were actually spending more time in opposition 22s than they were in ours, and had more possession there and created more opportunities, but never scored. And that essentially, it was the difference between winning and losing all those games. It's just about being clinical in those areas, and we, especially at Italy, had this real white line fever where every system that we had gone through during the week and everything that we had trained just went straight out the window, and it was every man for himself trying to get a meat pie.
Do you know? So, Dean, for all like non-professional rugby players out there, of which I am obviously one, because when they say be more clinical, I always think, God, that sounds really vague. What does that really mean? So, do they give you almost like a set of parameters, as in being clinical means only passing if there's a 50% chance, say, in your head of the offload coming off? Does it mean never throwing like a miss 2 when you're in? Are there parameters like that, or is it basic, or is it just don't do anything stupid.
It's I've never had. I mean, there's been certainly coaches that have come on and said, don't throw 50-50 or
Right.
But it's such a weird one because 1 week it's don't throw 50-50, and then that whole next week at training it's like encouraging you to be confident that you can make the pass, and it isn't actually a 50-50. It's what we've trained, so you can do it. I mean, the clinicalness comes into clinicalness, if that's even a word, comes into it. Yeah, once we kind of get into those, we call them gold moments of games where it just meant no offloads. This is just truck it, phase after phase, nothing stupid. We either need to hold possession or we need to create pressure, and that means just holding the ball, and that means certainly making less risky decisions. But in terms of, well, that's a good stat, that one there.
Yeah.
That's
interesting. that looked like Egyptian hieroglyphics. That did.
There's a question for Dean. How does it feel traveling around the world to play rugby? Ryan Wood.
It's been a freaking blast. From Canada to Japan to Italy to then from Italy being able to see the entirety of Europe and England and France and all the games. There is not really much better out there. Well, I haven't experienced it, so yeah, your answer is that it's an absolutely amazing opportunity that I was given.
Yeah. And as we saw this week, and it's one that can be taken away really abruptly, Jonathan Evans at the Scarlets, who was released. And all of a sudden he's gone from living that world as the pro rugby player, and now he's in an office job this month, and I think pre-COVID, I think he obviously presumed he'd get a new deal somewhere, and it can be taken away quickly, can't it?
Yeah, it is. It's a very fickle thing. I always remember when I was in the Hurricane schoolboys team. I did my schooling down in the Manawatu area in the Hurricanes area, and we had the Hurricanes professional development manager come in and said he put up a photo of the Hurricanes 4 years before it and said, "How many of these guys do you know?" And we just were like, we could probably name about 5 or 6 guys really, and then there are a few faces where you're like, "Oh, I recognize him," and he's like. And the whole moral of it was essentially the life of a professional athlete at that time in rugby was 4 years, was 3 to 4 years.
Blimey.
So to have, once I got to that 4 year mark, I really clearly remember having this thing of, I'm better than the average now, and anything from here on out is just a bonus. So it's to have gone on, what is it, probably 12 years, and I mean, you always feel like you could do more, but when you kind of put it in perspective with guys that lose their careers, so it's promising careers so young, it's
who came through with you in that Kings group out of interest? Oh, sorry.
Who came through? Who was in that team? We had a guy, Hikaweta Elliott was our captain then.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we had Nick Croswell, who came to the Dragons.
Yeah, Nick Croswell.
Him and I were locking buddies. He was one of my best mates for a long time.
Well.
A guy, 10 was Dan Kirkpatrick, who I think he ended up playing a little bit of Super Rugby for the Hurricanes, and then I think he had a kind of career in France.
Yeah.
George Whitelock was our blind side. He went on Sam and Adam and Luke, all the Whitelock brothers. Who was our backs? I don't know who else we had in our backs, to be really honest.
There's another penalty. I think that's the 11th penalty now in 30 minutes, and it's become a bit of a maul fest now. There was a penalty at the maul as Benetton were on the attack. Now Zebre on the attack and another infringement. So I think that's 11 penalties in half an hour.
Oof.
But Sean, that wasn't
Zebre maul's killing
particularly. Yeah, I was going to say it wasn't a huge maul. It was just the center of it was really solid, and Benetton couldn't cope with it.
I find that really strange, honestly. The amount of work we put in at Benetton to stopping mauls, and it became one of our kind of strong points. To see where it is now, it's black and white.
Yeah, that went down pretty rapid, didn't it? And referee quick to give it in from the side, I think it was. Is it interesting point here for our followers that this isn't a water break, this is an injury. There are no water breaks for the games. Guinness Pro 14 have done really well. What they've done is they've allowed an extra water carrier. So we're not going to get this, extra 20-minute water break, then a 60-minute water break. Dean will know these guys have been training for the last 20 weeks. They don't need a water break. It's not, yes, it'll be warm out there and a bit sweaty, but the ball in play time after 20 minutes in rugby would be barely 8 minutes.
Yeah, these guys will be fitter than they ever been.
Yeah.
I would think.
So it's a real good move. That was an injury, so therefore, we've just had an extra time to have water carriers on. But you'll see a lot of orange bibs because Guinness Pro 14 have allowed an extra water carrier per side, which I think is great.
Yeah, and they're all players too. I was speaking to Sebastian Negri too, so I can imagine there'll be info going out in every second they can get out there.
Okay, so we've got 7 minutes. It's another big maul.
Yeah.
It's sort of like they're sizing each other out. He's broken off a bit early there, I think.
Oh, oof, what a carry and tackle.
What a tackle from the 10, Gabby. Good play to the lad.
That's what we want to see. He took him backwards then.
They look a little bit lost in attack, Zebre, don't they?
Yeah. That's their style, though. If it's even a style, it's just throw it around and something's going to come off.
Is that why you'd resort to the maul a lot, Sean? If you're lacking a bit of pattern, you just go back to
if you look, they are. It's like gung ho carries, and who's organising the thing? Look, see,
gone.
There you go. Lack of numbers at the tackle area. That's another 22 entry. See, there's no success. That's why I want to keep this, and I want our viewers on Premier Sport. I want our viewers to start looking at these stats and getting used to. Right, Zebre 3, that will turn to 4 entries now, and probably 25% success, Well, and we'll find out over time what is a good stat, what is a good percentage of execution when you get in. Like they're entering again now.
I tell you what, he's in.
Bellini's quick.
That's fantastic.
See, that'll go in now as another entry into the 22, and they haven't scored because Zebre took it into the 22. But it's a good, lovely little save that was, wasn't it?
Great kick too. End on end.
Sato's done well. He's got way back.
Oh,
soccer skills.
It was, wasn't it? That was soccer defending.
Well, fair play to Dino. We're getting up to 5 minutes to half time, 10 points in total. He said there's going to be no more than 20 points in this, he said.
Yeah, you were right.
They got to keep to no more points now, and they can have 10 more the next half.
Question for Paul and Sean. When the Italian teams play any Welsh teams, do you always see the Italian teams as underdogs? We used to, Ryan.
Yeah.
We used to a lot. I tell you a quick story. We played Treviso in the Heineken Cup when they were known as Treviso many, many years ago. It was pouring with rain. And I can remember Lynn Jones's halftime team talk. He said, all we need to do is work the ball around the corner, and eventually we'll have more numbers. We scored 4 tries in the second half just doing that. Around the corner. But as if you listen to Dean on Under the Sticks with us, they've evolved. The Italian teams have evolved. They've got better coaching, better players. The players are improving. Young players coming in, experienced overseas guys adding value, and the more you play in this league, the better the understanding is how to work it out, and they're doing that. It might get, ironically, Dean, you can say that when they play each other, the standard probably goes down a little bit because it's all about the win.
Does, yeah.
Yeah. They kick a lot of chips. Ooh, that was nearly a deliberate slap back then.
Yeah, rugby league. So, there's another 22 entry. Kalokana into the 22 thinks it's essentially a turnover unless he's playing advantage there. Oh, they're going to have a look at that, are they?
It's just a
Kick
I don't
through.
know, dumb little kick in that.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
not a
that's not
cat.
a
You know,
it's not a slap, is it?
well, I look at that kick and I think it's a shot. It's just a shot to nothing because Haywood's coming across. They had the advantage with the looks of it.
Yeah, just a little hit and hope, I think.
What are the thoughts on Jaden Hayward's here? Probably the worst of the day, sure, that I've seen.
It's very hipster. That's like full 100% peak hipster, isn't it? With that and the beard. He'll open an organic coffee shop now before the month's out.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, and do you know it's interesting chatting about the Italian, the sense of how strong they've been, particularly in Wales, because it's never felt like it's been linear. Because the Italian felt quite strong initially when they came into the league, then weakened significantly, and then they seem to have little peaks where like a 2-year period where you think it's going to be like a continual build, and it doesn't seem to build. I think that's the frustrating bit.
Yeah, I very clearly remember as a player after that. I think it was the second year Benetton was in the what was it back then? Well, I had a different name, maybe a for sponsor
Celtic,
name.
yeah, the Celtic Magners League, probably.
Yeah, and we did really well. I think we finished 7th, which was the best in Benetton's history, kind of thing. And then I remember watching a YouTube interview of Keith Wood, and he said, the team to watch this year will be Benetton. They've really improved so much. Real dark horse, solid team. I think we came last that next year.
Oh, nightmare.
Just to show, like, for whatever reason, we're just so inconsistent and struggle to build. But yeah, we've got that right now, I think. But yeah, just remember how excited I was to finally hear that. Oh, Lazar.
That's really stupid, actually, because he hasn't even tried to go down low.
Oh, that's Lazzaroni, yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I actually think he's. I was looking at, speaking of penalties, when I was looking at the stats the other day, I think Benetton had 3 blokes in the carded section for most cards, and Lazar was one of them. So he's probably at the top of the table now.
And that's quite an avoidable one, isn't it? Because he didn't even bend his legs then. Like, you just drop your shoulder there. Listen to me telling Dean Bult an international second row.
But he's just come on.
Avoid a yellow card.
It's a coach killer, that one. He's come on as a replacement.
Yeah.
And he's been on 2 minutes and he's off.
Yeah, it's not a tired thing. It's just sloppy.
And it was in there 22. It's not like it was on your try line. It's an unusual thing to do, isn't it?
A couple of people are asking us about time check. I think Harley Worthy's a bit ahead. We're coming up as 39 and 30 seconds for us. So we're nearly at half time, Harley. Yeah. We'll do the same in the start of the second half so that everybody's in sync with us. But keep your questions flying in. T1 down under. Will stats like this lead to a player's expected try stat, like soccer? What does that mean?
I think it means how many you sort of finish given how many chances you get in the 22, I presume.
Yeah. Another penalty, I'll get an updated half-time penalty count, but it was always going to be, wasn't it?
Yeah. These first games, like, because I can imagine if you're training like this, it's not the same as the match environment, is it? You're going to revert to your muscle memory there, aren't you? That you've been doing it that way for the last 4 seasons. It's going to take you a few weeks to get out of that, isn't it?
I'd love to give them the benefit of the doubt, but I mean, they're typically the Italian sides are pretty ill-disciplined. We can factor in a few more, but I mean, just going off the back of that high shot, it just goes to show that there's a lot of silly penalties in the game as well.
Yeah, that was silly, to be fair.
This is the last kind of a converted try here would take it to the 20 points. It could be in trouble.
What's the call here then, Dean? Oh, front ball.
It's gone. Yeah,
that's interesting.
Oh, little pull-out play.
Oh, kind of.
All right, let's see how they do with it in the 22.
Oh, it's smashed. There's been no real flow so far. Let's see what happens with some possession.
Nice fend.
There he is.
He attacked the line there, didn't he?
I like a 10 with a spiky fend. Like James
Carter just kind of jabs.
Yeah, can get you out of trouble, can't it? Spiky fend at 10.
Oh, he's given the penalty away off his feet. Free play here now. They can have a real chance. With a man down as well, it would be.
That's forward. Take the
Right.
3.
Captain Bud, what would you do?
Yeah, I'd take the 3 and just have a little rest.
You're a man down,
Get
aren't
off.
you?
Yeah. Hang on.
Yeah, the maul's not. Oh, how
This
far is
changes.
it?
This changes things. It's on the near the touchline. Oh no, it's not. It's a trickier kick than we thought, though.
Yeah, I just haven't. If they weren't going to maul the one before, I'd be very surprised. Oh, they are going to kick it. Wow, interesting.
Yeah, they have. Look at that. See, this must be stats based. This kicking it to the corner thing, because this has been over the last 3 seasons. You see so many easy kicks turned down, Sean. And there must be a stat somewhere that when you're what 4 in 10 to score from a line-up maul or something, or to get a yellow card, or to get a penalty, or
I think it's personally, if you've got a forwards coach who has too much say,
is that what it is? Just stick it in the. Do you reckon?
Oh yeah, don't allow your forwards coach to make decisions. He'd go for the corner every time, wouldn't he?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Oh, there you go. That's what.
Oh man. Oh, that's a kick.
There you go. You know, we called it. We called take 3. You're a man down for another 7 minutes at the start of the second half. You know, it's a close game. It's an easy 3 points. Get in the shed and go from there. So they didn't listen to us, Dean, Paul, and they go into half time. Yeah, 10-3 down. Not a high scoring game. Dean predicted around 20 points, and he's not far away from their total points. And
you know what, though? I don't care. I really enjoyed that. I don't care how many points we scored.
Rugby's back. It was always going to be rusty. It was always going to be a lot of penalties, you know?
Yeah.
So, you know, we've got to live with that for a round or 2. But it's back. That's the main thing. And producer Adam's back.
Here he comes.
Hello, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm in my brand new home studio, as you can see from the glamorous green background, and I think I've overdone it on the looks in the living room here. So apologies, I'm not broadcasting from Mars, but as Andy steps out for a little bit, I thought I would pop in and just take a little bit of the pressure off you guys. It's been an interesting first half. I think Benetton definitely win the style marks for the jersey, but it's good to see how seriously Zebre are taking this game as well. And I think they are definitely, and Dean, you'll know this, they are definitely treated as the second team. But in a way, I think that's allowed them Michael Bradley to let those boys play a different style of rugby, because look, they may not be the strongest in the set piece, but he lets the young guys throw the ball about a bit, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, and they're showing tonight that they potentially are a little bit stronger. That line out more they've got going is winning them the game. There's nothing else happening. So those penalties they're getting that and they're getting from that is getting them in kicking territory. And I mean, it's not that it was a planned move, the old overthrow to the boot of Kana off the back, but they've scored a try there. So I'd say favours with Zebre at the moment in terms of dominating a kind of messy game.
We've got a half-time stats, Ad. Is it time to go to those?
I'll go and get them up in a minute, yeah. But I have to do a bit of tech wizardry when Paul sends them in. I got to just do a few things that hopefully don't throw up the internet browser logo again. So, we have another visitor.
Hello.
I don't know if he could hear him snoring away, but he wanted some attention.
It's dog 2. Remember, we had that story. Was it dog 2 or number 2?
This is Dewey.
Dewey, yeah. We won't go into it again, but it's Dewey.
Dewey's off the internet.
Paul, do you know, watching that, I was the one thing that struck me was your column on pro14.rugby this week, and you were saying how we need a weather indicator for the graphics for rugby games.
We really do.
What kind of symbol would we put up for all the little mozzies flying around at the scrums there that we saw?
I'll design one of those. We'd just have a little cloud made up entirely of mosquitoes. Dean, I wrote this week that rugby, when we're watching, we need to have a weather and wind graphic on the screen. because you can't tell, can you? You don't know what that. You know, when you say it's raining, even though you've got a 4K TV, you can't tell it's raining often. And then, you know, you get a full back drop in the ball or handling errors, and then people complaining, saying, "What are they doing? Why can't they
They're
catch?"
professionals. Huh?
Yeah.
They got
What
no
have they been doing?
skill.
What have they been doing all week? Why is he on 250 grand? He's dropped 4 line-out catches.
I think that's the job of the commentary team then.
Yeah.
You know, it becomes something that you really stress the conditions. If you're on radio, you've got to be very descriptive, you know.
Yes.
And then on TV, just because the pictures don't quite show the true elements, you've got to really emphasize how difficult it is, so that there's an empathy with the viewer then.
Well, exactly. But you know, for goal kicking, right? They should, when he's lining up, just stick a little graphic in the corner, real time. You know, like you do when you're watching the golf. So a little real time wind thing, and it'll be 20 mile an hour in his face at the moment it's raining. You'd understand then. And the same with the line out. You know, when you see a hooker wiping the ball, you don't know whether he's doing that because he's sweating or whether it's a monsoon. You've got no idea.
Do you know what I would love to see, Paul? I'd love to see like graphical overlays in terms of you know, where on the pitch guys are most likely to make their kicks from. Because,
there we go.
You know what I mean? Like everybody says, oh yeah, well, you know, once you're within a certain distance, you'll always make the kick. But actually, the truth is, like, some guys will always miss certain kicks on a certain side.
That's right.
I think for the kickers, you would record every kick that they take in, say, 6 or 9 sections in the opponent's half, and highlight the percentage in each area, so they would know where they would need to improve, or as a coach, you'd know the likelihood, as you say, of them getting this. So, for example, the likelihood right at the end there, that penalty where they decided to go for the corner, where that penalty was, the chances are, Dino, that kicker would have a very high percentage of where that's from.
Yeah.
So again, the decision would be, well, there's a good chance, a very good chance you're going to kick this. You're 85% from here, this zone. Yeah. What are we on the line out? We're 40%. So let's take the 3. You know, they're all backup stats, really.
Yeah, but I think they're useful for supporters to look at.
Oh, that'd be even good as a player pre-game, kind of knowing where your best decisions is captaincy-wise. If you could have some kind of guaranteed points or coin, or kind of know if that's a coin toss or not, it'd be a very, very good info pre-game.
Well, Dean, that could be part of your life. If you take up a role with Sean in Hawaii on his next coaching job, if you go as captain,
he's in.
He's in.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think the evil genius that is Sean Holley would probably take a more cynical view of this. You know how he was going to put all his best players on the bench for Super Aotearoa and let the other boys get sent off. What he'd do is he'd look at the opposition kicker and say, right, boys, he never scores from here. So you give away as many penalties away.
Drill him.
Spot on.
Right, Sean, we've got the halftime stats. Going to flick them up here for you now, so you can lead the boys through here. Tell us what we've learned.
Yeah, so it's just very basic ones to start, but slightly nuanced. We're trying to discover. We know there's a lot of penalties. Where on the field there are? So Benetton have given away 8 penalties already, and you can see in that yellow zone, 5 of them. This is why Carlo Canna has notched or had a crack at a couple of penalties. They're giving penalties away in that yellow zone. Now, to get under the skin of that, it's likely, looking at them all, that Zebre have kicked into those areas from penalties, maybe the 1 and the 2 and the green and the blue, and then gone for them all and got the penalties in those areas. Or they're on attack and they've given breakdown penalties away. Similarly, look at the penalties for Zebre. They've given 5 away, and it's been in their own territory. So, they're going at things pretty hard, and the referee tends to give penalties away. It's another stat that we can look at in the so-called red zone. The 22 conversions, there you go. So quite even on the entries, so the score is 10-3, but, 5 for Benetton, 6 for Zebre. And the conversion rates there. So the scoring rate for Zebre is slightly high. Only 20%, Dean. What do you think of that? Only 20% of the time do Benetton, having been in there 5 times, come away with a score. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, I mean,
5.
The Benetton of old, I would. I mean, of old, of the last season, I would think, you'd be hoping to be kind of 50 around that 50% mark. It's certainly not 40 at worst. You don't want to be creeping down to 20. That's 1 and 5, and that's nowhere near good enough to be. I mean, it could have been a bit higher if they just kicked that last one. That would have upped that percentage for sure.
It would 100%. That would have counted as a 22 entry and a positive outcome. They took the decision to go for the corner, failed, crossing, free kick, whatever. End of half goes down as a negative. Maybe as well, when you look a little bit deeper. Lack of experience, maybe a 10, a youngster in there, no X factor finisher, Motiuane. It could be a number of different things, poor decisions.
Sean, how many of those stats do you like at half time? Because guys are, coaches are armed with so much information. When you're going down there, like, you've got to pick out the important ones, but how much information are you trying to relay to the guys? And Dean, when Sean tells us, you tell us from the player's point of view, how much of those stats are you actually going to listen to? What actually sinks in? That's the challenge, isn't it?
I mean, this would vary coach to coach, right? I've been in change rooms where coaches rattle off so many points and they just talk so much. And I'm standing there thinking, this white noise. People they're not listening to this. They've just done 40 minutes out there, right? So over time, in my experience, I would have, if there was a significant statistic that was really affecting the half, I'd give it to them between the eyes. I'd ask them first, what do you think our conversion rate is in the 22? Something like that, and get them to, do they understand this? Oh, we're not executing. We should have taken the 3s. All right, they got it. They know what's going on. But for me, I'd always bring it back to the planning, the training week. And the same there. Dean would get, in my leadership group, as my captain, he'd get 3 key things that we think are going to, if we do well, those areas of the game, we would, if we impacted on them, we'd come out with a win, right? So it might be 10 mauls in their half. It might be giving away less than 6 penalties, and it might be getting 60% territory, so we'd have a strong kicking game. Now, in my experience, you go back to those things at half time, So have we had enough mauls in their half, boys? No. Why? Well, kicking's crap. He's not kicking enough, right? Okay, right. So you ask a question, follow that. But if you go back and hang your hat on the things that you planned in the cold light of day, when they're knackered and angry and confused in the training shed at half time, they can relate to that and they can only take in so much. So that would be my answer. And Dean now can rip that apart if he wants.
No,
I think Dean switched off already.
No. It was so good after 20 seconds that I didn't need to hear anymore. It is just spot on. I mean, that's the accountability. That's what you work your week through for. So if you've got your key kind of indicators of what's going to win you or lose your game, and you can reflect on those at halftime, it's the best thing you can do. If kind of the coach come up randomly with this stat that we hadn't even touched on, it would just be, like Sean said, absolute white noise. And yes, I'd be pissed, but I'd rather drink my water than have to listen to that sometimes. So I have had lots of different coaches over times, and for me, you just want, like you say, 2 or 3 specifics that you can change and that will flow on to the other things, and that's what you need. If you're going out there with 10 things on your mind, we should do this or we could have done that, they're gone. Let them be, and go back to your game plan.
Dean, what's the chat like in the Italian dressing rooms in terms of, because I mean, look at some of the clubs in particular, look, you can only speak to Benetton, but like, there's a big mixture of guys in there from different backgrounds and stuff like that. A lot of the coaches who've come through in the last couple of years have been English speakers. What languages are the messages getting communicated in? And I suppose when things get heated, I presume the language changes from English to Italian, or?
Well, for Kieran, it's only can be English. He as much as he tries, is one of the worst Italian speakers I've ever come across. Kieran sometimes will get up there pre-game and he'll have everything written out in Italian and do his absolute best. But sometimes like that muddles the message, really, because sometimes the Italian boys actually understand English better than
his Italian.
His Italian, which and and it's hard for him. I know it's hard for him because a lot of us have said to him, "Mate, listen, you need to just speak English because it's better for everyone." But I mean, there's a bit of pride in that he wants to, and it's like it's viewed as absolutely a golden heart from all the boys because he's doing it for the good of the team. But sometimes English is probably the predominant language. I mean, Bortolami, the head forwards coach, lineout coach, has got phenomenal English after. Where was he? Where did he play? God, was it Gloucester?
Yeah, it was.
It was Gloucester. He was at Gloucester for years and years, and his English was great. So I'd say the main language that things are communicated to us is probably English. How we speak to each other is probably more in Italian on the field.
Good question here from Ryan Wood for you, Dean. Do you prefer the individual coaching or the team coaching if you're getting messages at halftime?
I do like a coach coming round if there is something individually I need to work on and just give me a shoulder tap and having a little, say, hey, listen, you could work on this if he's seen something, especially Lineout, being a Lineout caller. I really appreciated Bortolami coming to me and saying, hey, listen, we've identified this space, keep winning the ball there, or hey, you haven't identified that space in the first half and we think that's a good option, you should go to that. I like having a little bit of individual coaching. Absolutely.
Very good. Well, the second half has started, so I think we've got coming into a line out here, and I must say the player that I like the look of for Benetton is it Bavarello, the hooker, the blonde curly hair? Baravali. I'll continue my track record of butchering any name that's not even remotely Irish or English.
And he's gone off too.
Exactly. So I just wanted to see what you thought of his early performance, because there's a couple of guys on the bench for Benetton who we wouldn't expect to be on the bench. We wouldn't expect Alberto Scarbi to be in the back row, as we talked about at the start of the show. Do you think, given the situation here, Kieran's trying to give a few of these guys a chance, and that's why we're seeing a couple of early changes?
Yeah, 100%. I know that Benetton had a hit out last Friday, and this was one team, and the other team that isn't playing was another. So, yeah, I think Kieran's absolutely viewing these as, bleed in a few young boys while he can and see what they're made of, and see if maybe he's trying a few little combos as well. So,
for the boys trying to get into Franco Smith's line, I think, and you don't want to be missing out on these games either.
No, I again spoke to one of the guys today, and he was hungry as hell to be out there and be playing. After so long of not having rugby, to be missing out on this first game just must be heartbreaking. No matter if you know the master plan and buy into the master plan, just to not be out there after literally pretty shitty 5 months, it must be tough.
Yeah, and you look around the team sheets for the Guinness Pro 14 this weekend. I mean, it is. I saw a couple of headlines locked and loaded across the board, and then we just talked about this. I know Ken Owens is on the bench for Scarlets. I mean, he's probably one of the most high-profile guys who's not in a starting 15. And I was just going through some of the back rowers on the pitch this weekend. I mean, the talent level is it's off the charts. And again, as you say, these guys just going to be absolutely dying to get out there and rip into people.
I think it's really important that they play, because the number of international games, they need to get up and running, for one, and two, they need to play a little bit for their provinces, regions, clubs, because they're not going to see them. So yeah. I'm not surprised, I'm loving the look of Leinster's team. I gotta be honest. Yeah. I just look at it: Healy, Kelleher, Porter, Baird, Fardy, Keelan Doris, Van Lefleur, Jack Conan. How sexy is that for a night?
I love it.
Luke McGrath, Sexton, James Lowe, Henshaw, Ringrose, Dave Carney, Jordan Lambert. Sorry, as we'd say in Wales.
Game over.
Good night, Mr. Chips.
Yeah.
Paul, you've had a look through some of those team sheets. Who are you looking forward to seeing this weekend?
Well, for me, it's the Dragons from a Welsh perspective, because there's been a lot of chat on Twitter and social media about all the signings they've had, and are they being treated as the favourites or whatever. Like I've said before, they've had the rough end of the stick for a long time, and I can't wait to see them running out. They've picked Tane Basham for the first game. I think Sean's doing the commentary on it. Actually, we're both big fans of Tane Basham. Yeah, and it looks fantastic. The blue squad looks great as well. Seeing Hallam Amos starting for those guys, so I can't wait. I mean, this game, I know we're saying it's low scoring, but I will literally watch any rugby, just so you know. Then this is it's just great to have it back. I'm slightly nervous watching this game because it's in the Pro 14 and it affects the teams that I'm watching and writing about. So, even watching this, I'm a little bit, this has got implications.
Well, what's good for me is that we're watching it with Dean because we're getting insight.
And it's amazing.
No, we're getting insight.
Yeah.
From a quality international player who's been playing with and against these fellas very recently, and it sparks me to talk about things I remember about planning and tactics and dealing with players. So it really enthuses me, and that's what it's about. That's what this Guinness Pro 14 does. There's so many different facets to it. And I'm really excited about the Leinster-Munster game. I really am, because I rattled off the Leinster team there, but we got Snyman and Dale Landay turning up for Munster. I spoke Wednesday about it's Munster's chance to just get an early bit of momentum to see what they can do. This season, can they sort of smash and grab and come in the back door?
Yeah.
Have you changed your mind since seeing the squad?
I gotta stick by it now, haven't I?
I was thinking of you as soon as I saw Leinster in the team. I was thinking, I hope Sean hasn't put money on that.
I don't bet. I just have a look.
Dean, I'd say you're probably regretting when you see some of these team sheets. You're probably regretting not having the chance to go 1-on-1 with RG Snyman now, yeah?
Oh,
God, that's a man I'd very happily retired from rugby. Then I'd have to see him. He'd be a foot bigger than me and twice as angry.
Dean, does he? Do you know, as big as you are, does playing against someone like Sneeman, is he intimidating even to somebody like you? What are you, 6'5"?
Yeah, what do we say on the team sheets? About 6'7", but
he's 6'9"?
No, he'd be closer to that. Yeah, I mean, at the moment, it's very. I'm not massively tall, but the moment I start looking up to someone, which I don't typically do, it doesn't create fear, but it just means that where my focus is and wanting to line out ball and things, it just makes. It certainly casts another 5-10% of doubt into my mind whether I go near him or not. That's for sure.
Well, one of the things that strikes me about this Benetton team as well is over the last, I'd say 18 months, they're clearly a fitter outfit than they've ever been. But there's some really, and I mean this not in the, just look at them walking onto the pitch, but there's a very muscular look to some of these guys in terms of how they play. And I just think, I would want no part of Bram Stein. I would want no part of Federico Ruza, who looks like he's put on a bit of good weight yet again.
I wouldn't go too crazy about saying Ruza's very big, but but Bram certainly he's got that South African gene in him that makes him super muscular. But yeah, that he's freakishly strong as well in the gym. Yeah, it's one guy I've actually never kind of had to tackle or anything to kind of give you any more insight on that. But a very, very strong at the gym and trains an absolute madman.
Bram Stein's one of those carriers who I don't think I've seen go backwards.
Nah,
I've seen him stopped, but I've never seen him go backwards in the tackle.
I don't know if I'm lined up at the same time as you, but I've just seen.
Yes, you are.
I've seen somebody get absolutely smashed. Zebre players just put in a seriously heavy hit there.
There's 2 big hits there.
I'm about at 49 right now.
Yeah, there were 2 big hits there.
Oh, I'm ahead. A crossfield kick here.
Oh,
I'm
there's
ahead
that
of you
man
all.
Stein. Look at that for a run. Oh, they've got to finish this off. Oh, come on. Oh, boys.
Oh, number
That's a
8,
heartbreak.
the left foot.
Did they-
Oh no.
That was some
build-up.
lovely build-up play
was
there,
lovely
and that
build-up,
was
wasn't it?
staying out in the wide. We were just talking about staying at
Yeah.
the carrier, staying the brick wall. He catches out wide, catches the crossfield kick like he does it every single day of his life. Switches
Yeah.
inside. Do you know what? It's if you had a fast fullback there, not Jaden Hayward, he'd probably finish that right there, wouldn't he?
Tell you what, you tell me
I'm
that
quoting you on that. And sending
that's
them.
beautiful rugby, though, isn't it? All of those lines and that handling, bar that last. That was in the goal. That was the golden moment you mentioned there, Dean, at the end,
Was
and he
that Carl
risked it.
O'Connor? Was that Carl O'Connor making the tackle?
Yeah, I thought Leo
Yeah.
Sato would have finished that. No worries at all. Gunner's done amazingly.
He's done brilliantly.
Oh, that's the end of Ali Zani's career, I think, right there.
Yeah, that
He
was
finished- he
the
finished up with the-
ovation, was it?
Yeah. So he kind of he didn't sign on for this next season and has stuck around just to kind of have this game as his final last hurrah.
Good player.
He's
been a massive servant.
yeah, he's been unlucky in the last sort of 18 months with injuries a bit, Dean, hasn't he?
Yeah, he had a really average period where I think he did 2 ACLs. He had a record, I think, in Italy. Oh, I'm going to make up a number, but it was something like 90 starts in a row for the Italy national team. No, I don't know. Whatever. He did his ACL on 99 caps for Italy, and then did it his other one before even playing a game again, and then got across the line finally. But
Wow.
for a man that had just been, they call him Robocop around Italy, been indestructible. And here we go, Ian McKinley, 59.
Ian McKinley's just corrected you there. There's nothing like being corrected live on air, is there?
That's why I just
From Ian
made it up.
McKinley.
Ian McKinley doing like CNN live fact checking, you know?
I bet you he
Fantastic.
doesn't know either. He's just trying to screw me over.
Well, guess.
You know, I was at an event a couple of years ago, and Zani turned up as the Benetton rep, and he just turned up in that sort of really slick looking Italian, whatever he was wearing, very cool, very chic. But he was wearing these like mirrored aviators, and I was like, we're indoors here. I was like, even for a pro rugby player, this is. So we got chatting to him, and then it just turned out he just had laser eye surgery, and that was the reason for the sunglasses.
Got glaucoma. Oh, love him. That's fantastic.
But I would just say, like, I'm pretty clever. I didn't just lead with this. So what's with the sunglasses inside? We were just chatting away, just let it come up organically in conversation. But he's still pretty cool looking dude that day.
Look, you weren't far off here with your 20 points. It's becoming very attritional, and the longer the game goes on, points are really going to be at a premium. Not that they haven't been already, but
I tell you what we need to do, Sean, is introduce people who may not have listened to the Super Rugby stuff on Holley time.
Well, Holley time is my theory that not a lot of tries are scored between 45 and 60 minutes. Very rare to see a try. Reasons for that, I have no scientific knowledge other than my 20 years of professional coaching experience, that players take on board some messages at half-time. They don't want to concede too early straight after half-time, so focus is a little bit on defense and kicking in territory. You start maybe getting a couple of subs in around the 60 mark, so it can tend to be a little bit cagey. I'm 7 minutes in here to another Holley time. Yes,
You are. And I think you have got evidence, because I've sort of been your sort of rugby guinea pig since you launched that theory, and I think it's true. It's definitely held water more times than it hasn't.
The other interesting under the sticks anomaly I've pointed out is, well, we've got a bit of a Zebre break on. They kick a ball away a lot, both teams in attacking position. So the other anomaly is, we don't know the exact statistic, but there's a really high percentage when the ball is kicked at the post that it hits the upright or the crossbar.
Yeah.
In games. We don't know the exact statistic, But new listeners, followers, just look out for that.
I tell you
It
what,
happens a lot.
right, since you said that, I think it's happened in virtually every game I've watched.
There you go. It's not something you think
joking.
about, is it?
In all the I've been watching in the Gallagher, it's happened in every game. Most of the Super Rugby. Have we had one? So we haven't had one in this yet, have we? But we probably
haven't
will.
watched it enough.
I interviewed Dean Budd for about 10 minutes there after I had too much coffee in the first half. My apologies for that. I couldn't stop talking.
Oh, he's back. He's back.
Refreshed.
Now, here's an interesting introduction. Zanon, the centre, made a few waves last year. What was your take on him, Dean? Because he played Six Nations and
I've got
good,
a massive amount of time. I think he's really, really good, and he's one of those guys that you kind of talk about being. Well, he's gym strong too, but just he's strong. He's so strong in the tackle and the carry. I rate him. I feel horrible for him because he's got such ambition and is one guy that I think has got his head screwed on pretty good. And his debut against France with Italy, where he just got absolutely ridiculed for costing Italy the game with 2 tries, one which was so unfortunate, the bounce off the post, and then one a little less where he got shipped to the ball over the line. But that's I think he took a real hammering mentally from the public from that, and it really played on him for a while to try and get his confidence back. But speaking with him recently, he feels like he's in a good place and is just as hungry as ever to get that jersey back. So I rate him and hope all the best that he kind of comes right and goes good this year.
Because I think the thing here, and Paul, you probably back me up on this one, which is why I'm going to go to you, because Dean will probably shoot me down. But look, I think Parisse's right at the tail end. There might be one more game in him when the internationals come back. I'm not sure, but Parisse's always been the one player that everyone said, when you're playing Italy, you nullify him. You don't have to worry about the rest of the day because he gets them going and he's such a talented player. But there's this level underneath him where all these guys have got to be almost trying to climb on top of each other to say, I'm going to be the next difference maker. But it's not as easy said and done, is it?
No, it's not. And especially with a player like that. I mean, at his peak, Parise was arguably the best number 8 in the world. I mean, he was as good as Kieran Reid and whoever was knocking around at that time. He was probably the best 8 in the world, playing in, what we could say is a weaker Italian team. And it's how are you ever going to be the next Serge Parise? I don't envy anybody coming through and having to do that.
You'd have a lovely wife.
Well, yeah, that's no. I know, yeah. Now it's all coming out. We'll have McKinley on you again now. But how do you do that? He was the best forward or back. It's not just about being the best Italian 8. He was the flag carrier for Italian rugby for 10, nearly 15 years. So Pelledri's probably the nearest.
Yeah, Hollyworthy makes that point. Yeah,
there we go. Let's face it, right? Pelledri could easily become that player. I'm a massive fan of that lad.
Oh, he's just so good. He can.
I had him at Bristol. See.
Oh yeah, of course you did.
He's a Bristol boy, and I say Adam at Bristol. He was in our academy, and he played only a couple of Monday night A games, and you could see, wow.
Yeah,
I was gone then, and he was gone. But
I just tell you, Holley, you were this close to me just dropping you out of the stream because as soon as the guys were talking him up, you immediately shot in. Yeah, well, I had him at Bristol, and I thought we were going to go down the tracks of it. I put him in this place.
Not at all. Not at all. I wish I'd had more time to work with him because he's a wrecking ball, isn't he? He's he's got a real X factor, explosiveness in attack and defense, nuisance value. Yeah. And that comes from, he's a bit of a local Bristol lad. I think there's a bit of that in him, which is a bit like Ellis Genge is another one.
Yeah.
They got that sort of rough diamond about him.
Dog.
Yeah.
And there's another one exactly like you two, Dean and yourself were saying earlier about when they're 18, you can spot how good they are. He was one of those, wasn't he? As soon as you saw him carry, you were like, oof.
Well, I saw, always coming back to Sim Negri, they went to Hartbury College together.
That's it.
And before I'd actually even met Jake or seen him play, Seb showed me his highlights from Hartbury College, and it was like just playing like a 30-year-old man playing against 15-year-old kids.
Yeah.
Just absolutely steamrolling, 3 guys on him, exploding them off like. And he could do that at international level. I remember our game against Canada. I think he set a world record for most attackers beaten by a forward at a Rugby World Cup. He had like 14 players beaten in a game. And I think he even in that World Cup set a record for the most attackers beaten by a forward ever, because it was just. Do you know
when you say like those guys now who just come through and seem freakish, and you mentioned earlier gym strength and like playing strength. Is that something you can get in the gym, or are you just born with like they're just different?
It's a bit of they call it Mong strength. Like
we probably shouldn't say that.
Yeah, no, is that a bad word?
It can be.
Yeah, but it's just like farmer strength. Like it's just things that you probably don't train in the gym, and you get from a life of kind of doing different things. You can certainly build some of it in the gym with power stuff, but it's different. Like Jake, I mean, he's sloppy. You see him with his shirt off. He's not in great nick.
Really?
Genji the same.
That's interesting.
You know what? It works the other way as well, Paul. You've got guys who are so powerful and strong in the gym, look $1 million.
Yeah.
Still Tarzan and Jane thing, innit,
Yeah.
Train like Tarzan, play like
Jane. Yeah.
Yeah. I just watching where we are here, so I'm just coming up on 59 minutes. It's still it's 10-6 to Zebre, but got a goal kick just around the 10-meter line, so we're hitting the hour mark. And
it's a 42-meter job, mate.
Yeah. And
we've confirmed the stat as well, the 45-60, nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If he takes his time, if he really takes his time and takes it over the 60-minute, I'd be delighted.
Yeah. But this is an interesting one, because we kind of mentioned how this Zebre team previously were playing a lot of ball. They've got a derby match here. They've clearly tried to take Benetton up front. They've kept this tight. It's been a real sort of fist fight. And rather than go for the corner, they've gone for the kick. It's just gone wide. But it just shows you a little bit of the mentality. They're trying to win this game in an old school style, which is probably not what we'd associate with Zebre, because when they win games, they usually do it by chucking the ball about and scoring a few tries.
Yeah, they play pretty. You've got to get. Yeah, this win matters.
The Three Musketeers. The Three Musketeers, Ian Keatley coming on.
Here he comes.
Ian Keatley. That's really getting in with the locals, Dean, isn't it?
Yeah, he's embracing the culture. That's great to see.
I like that look. I think that's pretty cool, actually.
Is that Porthos, Aramis,
Athos? What was it? Porthos
or who's the other one? D'Artagnan,
yeah. Or Dogtagnan if you grew up in the 80s as a child in the UK.
Holley time does it again.
He's done it again.
Oh god. So Dean, I'm just wondering, like when guys come in and they enter the setup and stuff like that, the non-Italian guys, any good stories about anyone who's tried a little bit too hard to fit into the local culture, or do they all try and go Three Musketeers like Mr. Keatley?
Well, Keatley's, I've never seen it quite embraced like he has, to be really honest. He's really let it go. But when I was training with him before I left, he even had the soccer players wear that kind of thing that I don't even know what it's called. He's rocking that moustache and that.
No, is he?
Yeah, he's lost the plot. He's gone way too far.
Paul, I know you've got an Alice band or 10 in the cupboard somewhere.
Right, do you know what? I'm going to go live with this now to the world. I have, and I use it for tennis. So, no, that doesn't surprise you.
Hang on a second. Live to Sean Holley for the reaction, please.
Listen here. I've got an unusual haircut with a foppish fringe, and this, when you're serving, is not ideal.
So
Sean isn't really surprised. He knows the score.
So Zebre picked up a penalty. They're a little bit close to the sticks, but they're out wide. They're putting this one in the corner, so we'll see if they can muscle their way over. Paul, I did notice on Twitter earlier on you did play tennis today. And I think, look, you may be looking for a bit of a pick-me-up, but playing a 99-year-old man, it's not really cool,
You mightn't have known. I played tennis today with my dad, right, down in Swansea, and there's a member there who's 99 years old, right? I played with him today. Oh, yeah. And he can still serve. He beat me 2-1. No, he didn't really. And I tweeted it earlier, and I said, I played with this gentleman earlier, 99 years old. He's one of my dad's friends. His name's Basil. Jonathan Davis, Jiffy replied to me publicly, my money's on Basil.
Oh, he got in ahead of me.
Straight away.
Is this going over?
No, it's falling apart. It's falling apart. So, but they still got possession, I think. That's not textbook. That's not a textbook maul, is it?
No.
It was a bit.
Jeez, that's great footwork. Who was that carried there?
That's Bellini.
Brilliant.
Bellini,
Oh, wow.
Surely.
He's another Bellini. He's another one with a bit of style about him, isn't he?
Yeah.
Just that kind of gliding, fast running.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to lose pace, does he, when he steps?
He's tall. It'd be a good 6'4" almost, I reckon.
Is he really?
Yeah.
This is
giving people extra inches here and there.
There's a big moment here if Zebre can get over, because they might get over close to the post. So you think that's 7 points. Have we got a body over? No, it's come out the back. But yeah, this is a big moment.
Advantage.
They're making a right hash.
That's a try.
I think he's over.
Yeah.
Hang on, McKinley's just stat checked you again. In fact, we should call that a stat slap.
Well, has he actually gone away and Googled
Hang on a second, let me see.
I quite like this from McKinley. This is great.
6'2", his height.
6'2".
We've got to try. We've got to confirm. Zebre players, very, very happy here. Some really ecstatic celebrations. This is coming at a really big point in the game. 15 minutes to go, close to the posts.
God,
looks like they'll go up by 11 points. Let's have a look at the replay here. Paul, what do you see?
They've burned some calories there. How many phases have they gone through, do you reckon, they must have gone through 40 phases to score that, maybe more.
It's almost impossible to stop that, buddy, isn't it? The height they get there, I think Laza did a pretty good job to get it.
It's as low as he could have gone.
He could have got any lower, could he?
Do you know, is there, in a situation like that, bear with me now, Sean, before you start ridiculing, right? Because they're so low, is there any point in two of you are just trying to get underneath him and not tackle him, just to make the putting of the ball down more difficult? So instead, just like almost if you imagine like two players going
onto the line,
going underneath like a mattress just to get underneath him to make it more difficult.
Oh, have you tried it?
I think I'm too muscular for that, Sean.
Try it.
You know when we talk about this. When we talk about this idea of getting two junior teams and Paul coaches one and Sean does the other one, I can see Paul walking out going, right boys, today mattress D.
Cover as much of the goal line as possible on their back.
Yeah, just get underneath.
Very good, very good. Right, so
9 phases for that try.
9 for that at the end.
But there's a bit of composure there that we probably, again, in the tighter games, not used to seeing from Zebre. Although, in fairness to Zebre, last season, they did get very close in Thomond Park, of all places. They were leading right up until, I think, the final 10 minutes. Yeah,
that's right. That was a good game,
and I think Bradley, and they played good rugby, they played hard rugby, and I think Bradley was really, really impressed with that one, even though it was a defeat. We've got Paul has sent in, not Paul Williams, Paul Larter has chucked in some more stats. Now these ones came just after Holley time, so they probably don't include Zebre's latest entry into the 22, which will have bulked up their numbers there. No. But Sean, what are you taking away from this?
Well,
I mean, as far as I can say, the penalties and the errors are costing Benetton.
That's the key, isn't it? 11 penalties to 6 and 15 errors. And just look at where the errors are. So if you look at home errors, they made 8 errors in Zebre's half. So they probably, I can't see territory in possession. It looks pretty 50-50 to me. So, you look at away errors, then, going the other way. Zebre have made errors in attack as well. 7 errors in the opposition's half. So that I probably, and Dean can probably back this up, but that is perhaps the one frustration, and there would be the next step of progression for Italian sides, including the national side. They're getting into areas, they're getting into territory. They're just not executing. They're turning the ball over or giving a penalty away and not scoring enough points. That's the bottom line.
Ryan Wood is on your side, Paul, for the mattress D. He says it does work. We call it dead flat.
Dead flat.
There we go.
So, and in fairness, and I'd have to agree with Ryan Wood, because he says he's a Yorkshireman and it's the first time he's watched us, and he said you guys are brilliant. So clearly we should take everything Ryan says.
Yeah. You win.
Just note that Ian's fact checked me to perfection there, so I'm 50-50.
6-4.
Very good. So, right, we've got some bit of life here now from Benetton. They've just picked up a penalty in around the 10 metre. So presumably they're going to stuff this one in the corner, which they have.
That's a great
kick. They need to get over here to get back in the game. Otherwise, it's hard to see them. It's hard to see Zebre coughing this one up.
Yeah, it's the first time in a long time that that Benetton's really chasing a game against Zebre. So
there's another.
Let's see if that experience that we talked about on the Zebre team pulls through and controls this game.
So the ball into the line out now. Oh, it's gone long, and Zebre have it. So
yeah,
it's all about the exit here. Interesting thing for me though is that they used to always talk about when teams are trying to beat the All Blacks, and in Ireland's case, it used to be the Irish players desperate to be on that team that could beat the All Blacks. But the Kiwis would always turn around and say, well, I don't want to be on the team that loses to Ireland. And I know Zebre have picked up wins over Benetton over the years, but at the same time, none of these Benetton guys want to be on the losing end to Zebre, no matter what the circumstances are.
Yeah.
No, as much as we respect and are best mates with all the Zebre boys, yeah, it's that derby, and you don't want to be that guy that was the loser to the kind of poorer brother of Italy rugby. So,
if ever there was in from the side,
yeah, straight through the side, wasn't it?
Just watching the replay of D'Artagnan getting tackled on the sideline there. He got smacked. He held on to the ball though, which we like. We like that one for me and Keatley. I just wondering, Dean, as well. Keatley was a pretty shrewd signing for Benetton and stuff like that. He seems a sort of a quieter character for a 10, but when he comes into the dressing room, what did he add in terms of experience, or just something that maybe did he add something that wasn't there, or?
Oh, he's anything but quiet as well. He's
silence is done.
he's borderline mad. I honestly believe. He's hilarious, but I think I talked about people having screw loose. I reckon he's got a screw loose. He's just he's on the go 24/7, and you can't slow him down. He's just blah, 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 blah. And it's cool. He brings us kind of energy, and he's at a place in his career, and I'm speaking to him where he's, he wants to give everything he can to help people out, and wants. I mean, he said he's just more composed. If he's not in a starting 15 for the week, he lets that be, and made his peace with that, and works kind of off the field to help anyone he can to be a better player. So he's been a massive asset. In that respect for the younger players, and in terms of just general backline attack, he's got ideas that I think that we kind of were completely new to us and our coaching staff a little bit, and he's helped out massively in that respect as well.
See, the thing is, I know he kind of came in towards the end of Ron Nagara's time at Munster, and the question was, could he be the next Ron Nagara, which is tough for any player to come in and do. But the exposure he got to some of the coaches he had there at Munster, and he was in the Ireland setup as well. I mean, this is a guy who, by rights, has absorbed a hell of a lot, as well as playing a lot of rugby.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, he's he's a hell of a goal kicker too. In terms of noting on those high percentage kickers, I think he's one of the best goal kickers Benetton's had for a long time, and I think it's got us through a few games early on last season.
Yeah, and he's also, I think he's about 100, maybe 150 points shy of breaking the Guinness Pro 14 all-time points record as well.
Is he?
Which is currently held by, I think, Dan Bigger.
Yeah.
I think it's 1585, and I think he's on 14 something or other. I'll have to check that up.
That's a lot of points.
It's a lot of points.
A hell of a lot of
A
points.
lot of points.
I tell you what, I've been really impressed with Zebra's maul tonight, gents. Is that just me?
I just think they've gone at it from the start, haven't they? I think Benetton look like they got a couple of guys who are having a run. Kieran's trying. I think Zebre probably are deservedly in the lead. But the less errors, they're taking their chances, kick their goals. I'm just impressed that there's only 23 points, and Dean said there'd be 20 points. It's fantastic.
Hang on.
If I were a betting man, I would have really capitalised on that.
Well, sorry, can I just say, Sean, and I'm going to have to. I want an audience for this one, so we're going to bring Andy McGeady back in.
Oh, he's back.
What top's he got on?
I'm back. No, I haven't done a change. It's all right.
He's unbranded. The kids are asleep, I presume.
No, they're not. They're not. This is why I've been delayed, folks.
It gets terrible. It gets easier.
We're working from home.
Let's get easier.
You have discussed Ian Keatley.
D'Artagnan, yes, we have.
Yeah,
Oh,
D'Artagnan.
sweet Moses. He's spent his lockdown well.
He's looking good.
It's
looking coiffed.
It's quite the facial furniture. Do you know one thing? The reason I wanted to bring you in for an audience here was because Sean was lamenting that he should have spoken to Dean to get some pointers on how this game might go. Sean, did you predict all home wins in the Guinness Pro 14 this weekend?
No, I didn't. I think Harley's got that. I predicted Munster. Don't forget.
Yeah.
I went Scarlet, Munster, Ospreys. I did go Benetton. Yeah. And I've gone for Connacht over Ulster, which is a risky one. I've felt the wrath of Ulster fans already on that. And I've gone Edinburgh, but technically Edinburgh is his away game. It's Glasgow's home game, but in Edinburgh's home. We're going out. Yeah. So I've gone Edinburgh, although it's a strong-looking, exciting-looking Glasgow team.
Yeah, he's picked a good squad, hasn't he?
Under Danny Wilson, Hugh Jones a fullback. So, yeah, all exciting games this weekend. It's going to be one of those.
I can't wait to see Hugh Jones a fullback.
That's Benetton Lineout going awry again. Just when they were back towards the 22, you just can't make these mistakes.
They're missing.
Sean, is there anything, and maybe you've been on both sides of this one, but when you're at this stage, 10, 15 minutes left in a game, and a team is winning a game that doesn't normally find themselves in this position, there's some stuff you just can't coach because you give a sucker a chance sometimes. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not, that's not the way I want to phrase Zebre here, but I'm just saying, sometimes you give a team something to hold on to and there's not much left on the clock. I mean, you've put your best ideas out on the pitch at that stage, haven't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's two ways of looking at this. For Benetton, do they want to lose in bonus point? Does it really make a difference? It's more about what they're coached to do, executing, scoring a try. That's what it's more about. You can see Hayward there just going and attacking. If you get a try now, there is still time. In my experience, it only takes a restart. That's all it takes. If you get within one score, one turnover, one possession is all it takes. Anything can happen. The pressure's then on. As far as Zebre are concerned, all they need to do is like this. They just need to defend, kick territory, good kick chase, cover your backfield, try and win a penalty. Don't chase lost causes and give them easy piggyback penalties, and run the clock down. Isn't it?
Mate.
And
Hang
then
on.
he's just seen the penalty now.
Yeah.
Before we say anything that's more serious about rugby, Sean, have you paid Darren Pete 20 their money up front?
Who's Darren? Well, hang on, Darren Pete 20. I'm seeing that. Sean Holley's a legend. Oh, you're a legend. I don't know Darren Pete or Pete Darren or 20 Pete Darren, but whoever you are, thank you,
I
mate.
like you.
Thank you
A
very
man
much.
of a man of good judgment and discretion,
Good judgment
obviously.
and
Sean.
taste.
Yeah.
I'm
Go back to
gonna
T1
pop
down
off
under,
and
Sean.
I'll control the comments in because I know Andy's got a few.
Yeah, bring in T1 down under, right? So this is one we're going to see. Home advantage gone, did you know, crowd? This is what sport is going through right now, folks, because the crowd does play a part. So if you look at research done into this stuff, you set referees down, in front of games, and there's a crowd noise and there's no crowd noise, they make different decisions. It's a weird human thing, okay? So this is going to be interesting. So Sean, with his little, sometimes likes a little flutter hat on, remember that, my son, right? And hello, Chiefs girl, regular from our Super Rugby Aotearoa watch-alongs. Morning, boys. Currently 3:40 a.m. in Perth. Okay, fair enough. I hope you enjoyed
Good
the
effort.
night.
That's good work, that is Chiefs girl. Out on the smash. dialed in. Well done, Chiefs girl.
Yeah, that's excellent. Love that. Right.
Typing pretty well for after a big night out.
It's good. Spell check is working pretty well, I'd say, at this stage.
Never the boozy messages on the podcast. That'll be that's all we need.
Keep them coming.
As long as you can't post photographs, I suppose.
Any imagery
or video. So it's a long way to go for Benetton. Scrum in their own 22, 2 scores.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dino boy.
Gone.
I think this one's gone.
I think I knew in my heart at the start that it wasn't going to happen. Like I said, with the team looking the way it was. But, but I can't be that guy that looks like a sour plum leaving the team. Be like, you guys going to lose.
Well,
but
I tell you what,
difference.
The line-out has been very poor tonight, though. In all seriousness,
I think that I don't actually the new hooker. That's his first time at this level. He's pretty new into the team, so I think he's probably just nerves maybe got the better of him and couldn't quite hit the targets.
Because he's thrown a few loose ones over the top, hasn't he?
Yeah,
over the back. Do you know? Can I ask you one line-out question actually? So if it was, when you're throwing to the back like that, and it's an obvious misthrow, is that purely a hooking thing, or can the timing of the jump be blamed, or how does it go? Who gets the blame?
Oh, I'll always blame a hooker.
Good, there we are. That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
I mean, but the poor fella. I mean, obviously he's missed. I think 4 in a row. You've got to, as a caller, you've got to start giving him some better options. Probably the first one, you've got to be a confidence throw, even if it's not the best ball. I've always kind of had this thing of bringing a hooker into the game, so you've got to throw easy to the front, get them in the game, make them feel comfortable, especially a new guy to it all.
Do you know what? Dean, I've got a great example of this. Always used to see it happen live. So Sean Cronin, a man who made a test career of coming off the bench. Devon Toner, one of the first things you do when Cronin came onto the pitch, you'd see big hand on the shoulder, and he's basically gone, just throw it to me.
Yeah.
You sparked a memory. I was watching New Zealand against, it was a Bledisloe Cup game, and it was down. It must have been something like Dunedin or something. It was windy and open and horrible, before they had, the roofs and stuff.
Yeah.
And the ball was grubbered through to about 5 meters out, and they had to go back to the line out. And Norm Hewitt, remember him, the hooker, went to pick the ball up, and there was a microphone, and Ian Jones was a 2 jumper, and he could hear him say, he just went, hard and flat, Norm, he said.
Really?
Just said, no, hard and flat.
Front
That
ball.
was the line-out call. In other words, get it to me,
Hard and flat,
and I'll just win and we'll get out of there, you know?
At my
Hard and flat,
chest.
Norm.
That's fantastic. Catch it at your waist.
Hard and flat, Norm. And he did.
There you go.
He literally took it like that.
Yeah, there. Boom.
I love when Adam steps out of the show. He has a lot of game, throws a lot of shade when he's not on camera.
Fantastic. They make the podcast, those little comments. I love them.
Yes. Here, going back to the Glasgow Edinburgh game, right? Because you're right. This game's pretty much done. The bench for Glasgow. I'm always interested when you see players like George Horn and Matawalu on the bench. That's a lot of firepower.
That's a lot of firepower that can play 9.
Yeah.
Look,
anywhere in a loose game.
Danny, I work with Danny. Danny will have different views as a coach on players. You know, some players will see Matawalu, coaches will see Matawalu as a 9. Some will see him as a winger. Some will just see him as an impact who can cover off the bench in whatever the circumstance. Danny's probably the latter, I would have thought. Being traditionally a forwards coach, he likes his set piece. Therefore, he'd like a half back, half forward. You know, Dean knows what I mean. So a 9 that understands the line-out calls, knows the line-out calls. So he's more likely to go for Ali Price, from what I know, than George Horn. You can have that argument as much as you like. Ali Price is more of a Danny Wilson player for me, from what I know. So Matawalu, therefore, is your wild card. That's what that selection is. That he's got him as a joker in the squad, a wild card play. That's what that is.
If you're 10 points down, he's coming on early.
And I'm loving it.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's face it, that's how Glasgow play a bit like that. I like it.
Look who's
here.
Simon Thomas in the house.
Oh, yeah.
Paul,
hello, Simon.
For you. Yeah. Are you in the jungle?
I covered this off earlier. Simon, I've had a lot of problems with Russians and Russian intelligence. So I've moved into my underground bunker in South America.
Mate, you could have cut that and just said, I've had a lot of problems.
Listen to you. I've had a lot of problems. I've just had to leave Wales.
Or maybe you haven't.
See, Andy, I love the way I knew you'd think that way. All you need to do is put one plant in and a bit of fake light in, and I think I'm in Colombia.
What about you and Eubank? When's the next watch along? We don't know, Ewan.
Oh, Adam, he's your man.
Next week. Oh, boss man.
What's this last minute try to ruin my stat? Oh no.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, don't.
That's a yellow card. There's the fridge right there.
That's the fridge.
So, how do we? I'm going to ask a non-specifically rugby question, right? But we've all gone through this last, Paul, at the end of the show last week, I think we were even off air, right? You said we've gone 5 months, basically.
Talking nonsense.
Talking rugby. Right. So how does it feel actually having our own teams again? Like, how does it feel?
I've loved it. Do you know what? It feels real. Those other games, Super Rugby I'd love Kiwi Super Rugby, right? As you know. It's like watching a Hollywood movie. It isn't real. It's sort of made up and it has no impact on your life. Whereas this affects the stuff that, our teams that we support, even though we're obviously neutral. And, there's something just different about this. There's something on this in the Northern Hemisphere. And I know players personally who play in this league. So there's an awful lot of things going on when you're watching this.
You got to try at the end, yeah.
It just feels real.
And they've just got a really nice try up the back of that yellow card. And I don't know how you would feel.
Joaquin Riera. Yeah, I didn't even know how to say that.
But, time's up. And then you scored. So they've huffed and puffed. And that's why you go 2 scores. That's why you take 3 to go 2 scores, because something like that happens even at the death. Remember, I said it only takes 1 moment. Imagine they had time for a kick-off now. It'll be squeaky bum time, wouldn't it?
Yeah, nervy.
But I think look. Well, the clock's on 84 on mine.
She's well done, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one's moving.
God, it's not often you see it get to 84, is it?
Took 80 minutes for them to start playing rugby.
But yeah, so we're back up and running. So
it's great. Loved it.
We've had to try it. Dean, you were right. Okay, you were right. But it is weird having rugby back, but it's good.
It's very cool. Very, very cool.
It's fab. I've loved it. You were both right, actually. Dean was right with the score. Holley time came in again.
Yes. Ewan back. I just reminded all Scarlets fans of yes, Ewan. I did enjoy my time at the Scarlets. Yes, it's a great club. It was great people. Chiefs Girl, off topic. What is the outro music to the show? I always get it stuck in my head. You call me cheater.
I love it.
It's somebody like a Boca. It's somebody like that. Chiefs Girl. It is the
Adam needs to pop in.
Team.
Yeah, Adam needs to pop in and give the provenance to the outro music, because I cannot get this right if I'm challenged on it. And no, I have been very restrained today. There's been a room change, but not a costume change. Yeah. This has been Harley Worthy straight in, Paul. The France versus Wales 100-minute match. Great show.
Yeah, that was incredible.
That did go on. So we're not going back to the point that Sean raised. We don't know when the next. We're just gonna take it easy, play it cool, and we'll see how these things all go. Keep an eye on the Pro 14 Rugby Twitter feed. Keep an eye on their social channels. You'll get a heads up as hint. There we go. Decummy Cheetah from Leon Schuster.
Decummy Cheetah.
It is out there.
It's really infectious.
It's coming soon.
It's coming. I really love it.
Infectious is one word for it. I've had others over this time. It is a bit of an earworm. So thank you everyone for joining us as we welcome Pro 14 Rugby back. This is the Rugby Against Racism weekend from Guinness Pro 14 Rugby. We support that. And thank you everyone for joining the show online in various forms, throwing in the comments and being tolerant as we've kind of dropped out at various times. And by we, I mean me, and definitely Dean at one point, which was well needed. Thank you, super producer Adam Redmond. Thank you, Paul Williams. Thank you, Sean Holley. Thank you, Dean Budd. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Big Greg Cloud, for being huge supporters of our watch-alongs. This has been Under the Sticks, live with Benetton versus Zebre. And bye-bye, Mr. Zani. Good luck and good night.
Here comes the news.